Okay, I want to just go over the transactions for your project, and I'm noticing a couple things that require your attention. Here, be more specific. If it's baking supplies or etc. Cash is not appropriate in this case, but I believe the baking supplies purchase were on credit. Here, this entry here, what it's talking about common stock. Again, you receive cash, but it says lending company cash. Equity is not a liability, so you have to have some kind of liabilities here. In this case, cash was paid. They didn't incur a payable. They actually wrote a check, so you need to change that. The next entry here, again, the entry was paid in cash, and business license expense should never, ever be credited. In this case here, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the entries in reverse. Reverse that, debit the expense, and credit the cash. And then here, same thing, entries in reverse. Entries in reverse here. Accounts payable, let's highlight both of these. First of all, the prepaid is correct, but you have to debit that. And this particular organization paid for the insurance in cash, not a payable, so we need to fix that. Here, this entry is in reverse. And that's how it goes here. If we look at August, which is over in this entry here, this entry here should be reducing the cash because you're actually paying the employees. I'm not sure why in this case common stock is being used. It's not appropriate in this case. We're actually receiving money from our customers, so we need to reduce the receivable and increase our cash. Here it's another case of not understanding what's actually happening. You're paying a telephone bill. You're not incurring an expense, so that's inappropriate. And you're not receiving cash, so you should be debiting it. Here, debiting an expense, you have to first recognize you have the asset, and then you use that asset. And when you use it, you incur it and you have to expense. So that entry is incorrect here. Purchasing of supplies, but it's generally going to be on account. So you increase your supplies and you increase the liability. Here, it looks to me that this entry is in reverse, and you have to reverse the entry. I'm not sure why this one here is used. Receive payment. Again, you're going to affect cash, and you're going to decrease receivable. Here, again, if you're making the payment, you should be decreasing your cash and removing the liability, which you're not doing in this case. So, and again, these issues that I'm seeing are just repeated over and over again. And I'm just going to highlight them because you just need to be certain you're not putting them in the wrong order, meaning debiting when you should be crediting and crediting when you should be debiting. This is another example of that. This should be debited, the expense, and the payable should be credited. In this case here, don't record the expense as a credit. First of all, you've not used it yet. And secondly, you haven't shown the amount of money that you paid for it. So that entry needs to be adjusted. And again, it's the same entry issues I noticed in the previous month. And I'm going to go through these the same way. I'm just going to say your issues here are just a repeat of the entries that you've made in the previous months. And I'm just highlighting them to bring them to your attention, that some of them you're recording in reverse, and some of them are affecting accounts that are not appropriate. Accumulated depreciation is not appropriate here. Mainly in this particular transaction, you were simply copying the inventory transactions from this worksheet here to your journal entry sheets. That's all you were doing. You didn't have to do anything here. And again, these entries are in reverse. This here, bakery sale, merchandise sales. Again, you should have been copying the transaction directly from the inventory tab. I hope if you see that these entries that I've noted that are incorrect are nearly just voluminous only because you're repeating one mistake. If you make a mistake here, chances are you made a mistake in August and September, and that's all it is. So once you fix them in July, just follow through with August and September. I've highlighted them. Some of them, again, reverse. The entries were recorded in reverse, and some of them were affecting accounts that really weren't appropriate. And so looking at the transaction and what it's trying to tell you might be very helpful. Also reviewing the chart of accounts if you don't know specifically one account that makes more sense. And again, if you have any questions, please by all means send me an email, let me know. But I think you are on a good track here. You just have to really fine tune your knowledge and implement some of the changes that I'm recommending. Thank you.